Hey guys, just a quick addendum to last night's video, or rather the audio that I posted. It was just basically me talking in the dark, but nevertheless I think that you should go back and listen to that before you hear me out now, so that you can really understand the gravity of the situation, the full scope of things as it is all unfolding right before our very eyes. And what you're looking at right now is artist, I can't remember his first name, maybe it's David, but nevertheless it's D's Illustrations. If you're interested in such artwork, which puts in perspective what we're dealing with here on so many different levels, then just do a quick Google search of his artwork and you'll see. It'll give you at least some sort of hint or insight as to what's going on and the directions you should be looking in. Great artwork, right? Picture says 1,000 words and he has thousands of images. Nevertheless, what I want to talk about today is the PRS. And no, I'm not talking about a new coin. I'm talking about problem, reaction, solution. And essentially what's taking place here, and what I believe will take place in the future, I'll talk about both, is that Big Brother, the powers that be, the feds, the government, those who rule over us, and mind you, and keep this in mind at all times, they are not here to serve and protect. They are here to serve and protect the people who sign their checks, but they're not here to serve and protect us. And that's all levels of government, but especially at the federal level. None of these people are looking out for our best interest, but they always spin it so as they can pretend that they are, even with their warmongering. It's always a big lie. They twist everything around in order to get us to do their bidding, in order to get everyone who serves them at all levels to do their bidding more accurately and more to the point. So they will tell us, or as a matter of fact, they will create a problem or tell us that a problem exists, but more often than not, they will create a problem. When it comes to warmongering, we would be talking about a false flag. But nevertheless, they will create a problem. Then the reaction from the public, in short, will be panic and looking for protection. And then they will come along with the solution that they had in mind all along. So you will essentially be begging them to do what they wanted to do to you all along. 9/11 provided them the opportunity to create all these new laws that restrict our rights. As a matter of fact, the Department of Homeland Security was created based on that, or on the back of that. So I don't want to get into 9/11 or other false flags, other things that are going on politically or any such thing, but I just want to make the point here that this is a tried, true, and tested approach that they've taken, not just for years, but for decades, and in fact, generations. I really could get caught up in endless examples. But the basic point here is that they are doing the same thing, or they are going to do the same thing when it comes to the crypto sphere, and that's how they will gain control. Again, back to the point that I was making last night, we're just frogs in the boiling water. They slowly turn up the heat, and it just seems like it's not interconnected. It seems as though it's happening organically, as though they are responding to things. And that's what they're going to do with, as far as the SEC and in other ways restricting our ability, our freedoms, essentially, right? They're going to tell us that they're doing it for our own interest, to protect us. But essentially what they're doing is taking over and locking us out of these things, right? And case in point, took an image here of an email that I got. I was trying to participate in this ICO for Seek, and that's just today, as a matter of fact. Today's the 4th. And as you can see, and you can read it in its entirety, but the basic point here in their KYC update is to let you know that you have to show your government issued ID, the same way that most of these exchanges require us to prove who we are. And of course, okay, on some level, we can deal with that. We can live with that. But this is all against what cryptocurrency, I mean, in the very name, right? Crypto, what it was all supposed to be about. But as things take place, as things are occurring, we become more open to these measures by the government, right? And as a matter of fact, one thing I want to add here before I forget is that I would expect a false flag of sorts within the crypto sphere. And what I mean by that is some big theft or something off of a major exchange, something going down that affects a lot of people, that instills fear in their minds, where they would then be not only willing to accept new regulations, but actually begging for them. And most would argue, and some very reasonably, that there's a fine line, that we need some sort of regulation. It just can't be the Wild West forever. But again, it's a slippery slope. And when you have righteous leaders, then you can have and allow and accept and even welcome regulations. But when you have people like this who have demonstrated every single time that they abuse their power, then I would say there's a line that needs to be drawn, and it can never be crossed under any circumstance, no matter what is done or no matter what they do to get you to welcome them doing it. And again, that's what takes place with these problem reaction solutions. Anyways, to the main point that I wanted to get at here as far as what they're doing here with ICOs. American participants, if you are a U.S. citizen or resident, you will only be allowed to participate if you are an accredited investor. And U.S. participants will require additional verification, including income and asset verification. So here we go, guys. Right here, what I was talking about last night and what we have seen coming down the pike. They're putting pressure on these, on the other end, essentially, because what's happening here is the little man is being squeezed out, right? This is gonna bring this full circle and reduce it to being no different, no better than the stock market, if we allow them to do that. Where again, one of the greatest benefits and the promise that these ICOs and cryptocurrency as a whole offers us is that we can directly fund those we believe to be worthy, the people we believe to be working on new projects and new technologies for our collective future. But they are in the process actively taking this away from us, and they don't have to come at us and strong arm us and tell us they're going to do it. What they can do, and what they're clearly doing, is pressuring these companies on the other end and requiring them, making it that they have to demand these things from us, right? So they can put the pressure on them on the other end, and it's just as effective, if not more effective, at shutting us out. Not shutting it down, not killing crypto, but subverting it. And this is taking place right before our very eyes, okay? So we need to pay attention. Frogs in the boiling water, one thing after the other. And what will happen right here is, you know, if at this point, really, I don't know how to get around this, because you can use a VPN if they're not requiring this documentation. But now you'd have to know somebody in another country. I do, and if I really wanted to get into this, I have several options. I can work my way around this. Those who are more resourceful can do so. Those who are willing to bend the rules can find a way, no doubt about it. But law-abiding citizens, and there are a lot of hardliners out there, people who want to do the right thing, people who want to pay their taxes, people who want to do their part and not be a criminal, right? And to me, there's no such thing as being a criminal if it's a victimless crime. There are many laws on the books that are meant to control us, not meant to protect us, and that's clear and obvious. So you can be a criminal by never hurting someone or never doing anything that is morally wrong. But a criminal you will be, nevertheless, living under the powers that be. Because again, they're not looking to help us or protect us. They're looking to control us and, in fact, enslave us. But, wealthy people, the door's open to them, just as it is with the stock market, just as it is everywhere. And we are the ones who are being closed out here in plain English right before our very eyes. Only accredited investors are able and allowed to participate. Criminals and resourceful people can work their way around this, no doubt about it. But again, this is just one of the first steps on this slippery slope. And if we allow them to, they're going to take it further and further. And at the end here, just in summation, never trust. Never, ever, ever trust the federal government or any of its many tentacles, any of the people who serve it. Up and down the line, across the board, from the left, from the right, you name it, in the media, and all of these agencies and organizations, they are all taking their orders and getting their checks from the same bastards who print the fiat currency, and they are going to throw everything in their arsenal at us so that they can maintain control over their wealth and over us, their assets. That's us, right? The sheep, the little guys. So, call me a conspiracy theorist, call me whatever you want, but you cannot rebut the things that I'm saying. because they are taking place. They have already taken place all across the board, all throughout time, all throughout our lifetimes, in the very least. And again, that's all there is. Attacks on the messenger. Oh, you're a crazy tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, and you're afraid of your own shadow, and so on and so forth. It's all baloney. It's all childish nonsense. I would debate any of these people anytime on any of these topics. It's not going to happen. But nevertheless, I'm just here to sound the alarms and warn you guys and let you know what to look for. And while it might seem innocent, while it might seem like just one little point that we're conceding on, it is a slippery slope. It is meant to be a slippery slope. Frogs in the boiling water, one thing at a time. And that's how they're going to do this, because that's what they've done across the board with everything else. I'm not Nostradamus. There's nothing, difficult about predicting this. It's what they are already in the process of doing, guys. So keep your eyes open.